So today really does seem like the day of leaks. So right at the very start of the day, my time, you got the Hacker Tower leak. Interestingly, Below Natural has not added this to Twitter or anything, it's only on Discord, which has peeved some people off given the fact that they are banned from Discord. Luckily, you can just watch my video to keep updated with the news. He also leaked the fact that the first 48 Hidden Wave winners were going to get a special skin too. Make that 50, Below Natural. Do remember there's 2 people in the last team. And Below Natural has leaked the fact that there's going to be a turret rework. Now, here's a fun fact. Below Natural hit 1,000 likes within the video being uploaded, the original video, last night. And only now has Below Natural actually posted it. I assume he had to wake up or something. I don't know. I don't think he's human. In any case, you can see here, Below Natural, you can have a treat of the XR500 skin untextured. Yeah, no, this is the final skin Below Natural. I totally agree with you. This is what the XR500 skin is going to be. For context, the XR500 skin for the turret is one of the last turret skins, or one of the last skins in general, actually, in the game to have yellow skin. All of the skins in the game, barring some exceptions for untextured torsos or arms, in the name of the Pirate Commander, and even to this day, actually, the default medic, more on that later, the XR500 turret never changed over to have skin tones as the other towers did, presumably because the developers forgot about the turret. And in fact, the turret is one of those skins, in fact one of those towers, that's not had a major model rework since its addition. The only tower that I can think that has had that is the medic, and the medic is due on anyways, again, more on that later, but the turret is the oldest tower in the game not to have a model change ever. I mean, I guess you could also say the paintballer, but I think the paintballer has changed some levels. The turret, meanwhile, has never changed its models at any level whatsoever. And in January of 2020, the XR300 and the XR500 skins were added. And they've also remained unchanged, so again, one of the oldest skins in the game not to have changed. That's what this leak is about. This leak is a leak of the fact that there's going to be a new XR500 skin, and the yellow humanoid that we're all familiar with is going to get replaced. Now, here's a fun fact. The XR500 turret was based on a game that Below Natural used to play back in the day, not necessarily the Xbox version where this version can be seen, but it is based on this. You can see on the later levels that the XR500 turret is indeed based on this skin. Now, given the fact that Below Natural has started to move away from this game in general, I think that this is going to be a complete overhaul, and I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the max level, but I think this is going to be like level 3 or level 4 at the very least, because the humanoid here does have full body armor. Also, the gun seen here is very similar to the Gatling gun that a player can control, I can't lie, which may give us some hints about the turret rework in general. Now, people have noticed the fact that it has 32 here. Now, Below Natural has said this is actually not a reference to the Hidden Wave 32, which got famous because people were gaslit into thinking 32 was a clue somehow for the Hidden Wave. No, Below Natural says that it's Outpost 32 for the freezing point of water. Now, if you're like me and you actually speak proper English, the boiling point of the freezing point of water is not actually 32. No, it's 0 degrees Celsius. However, Below Natural likes to speak a foreign language called American, and in American, apparently they use a system called Fahrenheit. And in that system, for some weird reason, freezing point of water is 32. Actually, I know why the reason that Fahrenheit's freezing point of water is 32 is because I believe that the original system on Fahrenheit, which was based off it, used salted water, and salted water has a higher freezing point and boiling point compared to regular water. So, for whatever reason, the base limit of that was not based on a freezing point of neutral water. No, it was based on salted water. Now, I would make a joke about the fact that I actually use Kelvin, but I'm a biologist, I'm not a chemist, so I actually don't use Kelvin. In any case, that's actually the original reason why Outpost 32 was called 32. It has nothing to do with the Hidden Wave. And in fact, you could probably say that the current memes of Below Natural saying 32 is not based on the 32 Hidden Wave either. It's just based on the fact that the boiling point of water, sorry, the freezing point of water, Jesus Christ, it has to, freezing point of water has to be 0, boiling point of water has to be 100. None of this 32 crap. Anyways, I don't know why Below Natural has decided to go down the freezing point route. It doesn't look like a frozen skin or anything like that. Then again though, if the Below Natural wants to move away from the game that must not be references, I guess moving the XR500 skin to a humanoid that is based encased within a base, like Outpost 32, is probably the best way of going about it. Anyways, based on this assumption, it is going to be assumed that the XR300 skin and the default turret are also going to get reworked. How the turret is going to get reworked, I don't know, given the fact that this looks like a Gatling gun. So perhaps the turret is going to change to a humanoid operated Gatling gun, I don't know. However, I have spoken about the medic in the past. They're talking about old towers that have not gotten a remodel. Below Natural has actually leaked the fact that the medic rework is coming on track towards the summer. Now, this may be the reason why that when the medic got rebalanced, none of its skins were actually updated. And I do believe that there are still some glitches with the medic, mostly with the fact that when it cleanses towers, it doesn't actually cleanse any debuffs from the towers. It is meant to, but for whatever reason, developers have not fixed it. I assume for the medic rework, the developers will fix it, alongside a medic rework model update, which means that I think it's likely that most of the medic models are actually going to change. So the Witch, the Cyber, the Valentines, and the Bunny are going to get changed. Not so sure about the Stranded, given the fact that it is based on a modern skin, the Masquerade as well as the Fallen. These skins I can see hypothetically not changing too much. Also, you can kind of see with the Masquerade and the Stranded medic, the skin tone that the medic is probably going to have a much more pale skin tone, because currently it's a bit yellowy. And all of the original skins, prior to the Stranded medic, use this yellowy skin tone, so I think it's probably going to change over to a more pale skin tone rather than a yellowy skin tone. This also probably does mean that the developers are going to remove the Geneva violation on their medic model, because as I said in the past, having a red cross on your tower is a violation of the Geneva Conventions. People may say it's not a big deal in any way whatsoever. The Red Cross has gone after games for using the Red Cross inappropriately. So I would think that the developers would remove the Geneva Convention violation from the medic. And we've actually seen this in the past where with reworks, it has been removed. Most notably, there were 2 reworked models that we saw. Here, it doesn't have the Red Cross, and here, it doesn't have the Red Cross either. Now, these models were hypothesized to be the medic, default medic rework skin. And it was the case back in 2020. However, times have moved on. I think the developers are not going to go down this route because it looks, again, it still looks of the date of 2020. And I think it is likely that we won't see this gun being used for the medic. We actually even see a max level model which actually does have the Red Cross, as seen here, with angel rings, but the angel wings are red and a red halo. And ironically enough, the medic's gun seen in the rework was seen on the 2021 version of the lobby in like the inventory part, where you can see this railgun here, clearly based on the planned medic rework as seen here. However, I don't think it's coming to the game. I think it's going to get a complete overhaul. Much like the Hacker Tower is going to get a complete overhaul, and much like the Engineer kind of got a complete overhaul when it was first added. Obviously, the Medic is going to get a rework. I don't think it's going to keep its current stats, which people have heralded as like the up-and-coming version of the Golden Scout, which I don't think so. I don't necessarily think it is a better version of the Golden Scout. And even if you do think that, it's probably going to get reworked to be something slightly different, or maybe even something completely different. And as far as I'm aware, it still cannot heal the base health through its upgrades anymore. It still gives out 10 or what is it, 5 or whatever, I don't remember. When sometimes it should be like 100 or something at max level. Yeah, it still doesn't do that. So I assume with the rework, that's going to get fixed. Interestingly enough, Below Naturals also responded to someone else saying to fix the DJ speaker volume scaling. Then Below Natural said it's removed on mesh deformed rigs because running scale 2 is too expensive to run for most clients. I assume that's something to do with performance, triggering fast cluster errors, resulting in massive lag spikes. Yes, I was right. Can't do anything about it until Roblox fixes it. I have vaguely an idea what that means, not a complete idea. I'm just going to say that Below Natural isn't going to fix DJ speaker volume scaling. Not that I see it as an issue, I just see it as like an approach issue. Sometimes I'm really close to the DJ booth and I don't hear it. Sometimes I'm like on the other side of the DJ booth and yeah, I can hear it perfectly or louder than usual. Another thing that Below Natural's commented on is this person has made some vectors, and some of the vectors look very, shall we say, TDS-like. However, it turns out Below Natural said, is that my spin and revive tickets but traced, and said that I really had a completely original idea for the tickets, but the customer is the one who has the last word. So it seems as if Below Natural commissioned someone to create the icons for the spin tickets and the revive tickets that we see in the game. In fact, I think it's likely that he commissioned someone else to make all of the icons in the game, given the fact that these icons, the trophies, the addition of a playlist, the shopping basket and the setting icons look quite similar to Tower Defense Simulator. Below commented on a Porsche Club car thing. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to bash on him for liking Porsches. I'm just saying, though, the most expensive car that I'll ever drive is a Mini. And that's it. Below Natural to comment on this. I don't think it's a Tower Defense Simulator league of any kind whatsoever. It doesn't really fit into Tower Defense Simulator. There's no hashtags for Tower Defense Simulator, so I'm not going to assume it's Tower Defense Simulator. These, on the other hand, well, I mean, they're commission, not necessarily for Tower Defense Simulator, but it looks kind of Tower Defense Simulator. This is the same person, by the way, who made some of the Easter skins. So, for example, whatever this Crook Boss skin was called, I don't know, I call it the furry Crook Boss skin. I also believe these Brawler arms actually made it to a Brawler skin as well. So this person has made Tower Defense Simulator skins. And so yes, that confirms 2 tower reworks are going to come in the future for the turret and for the medic. And a new tower is coming very soon, namely for the hacker. Where skill trees are among all this, I don't know. Some people suggested that the hacker tower may be involved in the skill tree stuff. I don't know why the developers would entirely put a feature, a well-rounded feature, into just one tower just for a UI button to appear inside the lobby. It's like having a commander upgrade path inside the lobby. It makes no sense.